To have you all here. Lawrence is going to open up with a statement, and then we'll get into the Q&As. When we're doing the Q&A portion, please wait for the microphone from our man Matt, and please state your name and affiliation, and we'll go through after that. Take it away, Lawrence.
Surely. Thanks, Chris. Before we get started, I just we lost another legend, another giant in Coach George Raveling. We lost Jerry the year before. George is one of the most important men of his generation. So again, condolences to his family. His teachings will live with us for a long time. Well, welcome. We're actually very excited to get started tomorrow. Training camp is where we start to build the foundation of our season, and it's about establishing the right habits day in and day out. Our players have been working very hard this off season, and now it's about competing, growing together, and making the most out of every opportunity. It's cliche-ish, but it's true. Every practice, every walkthrough, every film session, every player development session, every lifting session is an opportunity to get a little bit better. We're a deep team with a lot of proven players 1 through 11 and reinforcements at every position. This summer, we were able to add size, athleticism, and shooting in the front court, plus playmaking, ball handling, and shooting in the backcourt. We're super excited to watch this group grow together. Now, I'm not naive. I know there are a lot of questions about our organization. I wish I could answer them all, but out of respect to the NBA investigation, I can't. What I can do is answer what I'm able to share. I will say this. We are glad there's an investigation, and we welcome it. We appreciate that there'll be a clear-eyed look at these allegations, and we're eager for the truth to come out. The assumptions and conclusions that have been made are disappointing and upsetting, and we expect the investigation will show that these allegations are wrong. I'm hurt for Steve. He's one of the best people and most honorable people I've ever met. He does things the right way for the right reasons. And he constantly reminds us to stay on the right side of the rules. I'm also hurt for our players, our staff, and fans. And on a larger level, as I've learned more about this over the past month, I feel bad for all the people who were defrauded by this individual. Let's not forget, this was a case of widespread fraud, and there were a lot of different victims. The salary cap governs everything we do. Our mission every day is to build the best team we can under the constraints of the cap. There is no gray area. There are no secret shortcuts. It's clear what we are and are not allowed to do. The accusations made against us are serious, and they don't line up with my experience, my reality. We will cooperate with this investigation and let this process play out. But we are eager for the whole truth, the whole picture to be revealed. We're very confident in what it will show. Questions?
Great. So please, hold on. Please raise your hand. We have only one microphone, so if you have a question, raise your hand, and when we come to you, please state your name and organization. Ping, first hand up.
David Pinkelor, KTLA. Lawrence, I've known you for a long time. How do you the optics don't look good, but how do you work through this at this point as the season starts?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of inferences and insinuations, Ping. Obviously, I can't comment on that. But we do look forward to providing the facts to the league so they can see the entire picture, which I think is critical. We feel very, very confident we're on the right side of this, and we'll just focus on what we can control and trust the investigative process.
Hey, Lawrence, BJ Matthews of the Sporting Tribune. How you doing?
Where you at?
Over here.
Oh, okay. When you say over here, that's even challenging, yeah.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good.
Ended the season how it ended last year. What did you and Coach Ty Lue talk about as far as roster construction? And did you guys feel like you actually added those voids in with the shooting, with the offensive play, defensive play? What are those things that you guys addressed going into this season?
Yeah, I think we look at this season, you have to do a full autopsy of it. Typically when you lose, and we lost in the first round, there's so much of a focus on what just happened. And I think the benefit of having months kind of emotionally kind of unwind a little bit and then literally go through every single game. The regular season was something that we were very proud of. And I give a great deal of credit to the guys on the team. We talked a lot about James, but Norm and Zoo were huge, KD and DJJ, and everyone else who contributed. And then we look at, if you study our last 48 games of the season, we wound up being second in defense, eighth on offense. That's a pretty large sample size. And I say that, obviously, Kawhi and what, you look at the last, his last 23 games and the last 21 games of our team where we finished 18-3. So all those are super encouraging. With that being said, we lost in the first round, we lost in 7 games. So we knew there was a need with our size, that if we can get more athletic, if we could add some more shooting, that was a critical piece. And I think with John Collins, who gives us the ability to have some more positional versatility, we can play Kawhi now a little bit more at the 3, John at the 4. John can even play some small ball 5, move Kawhi or Nico to the 4. And then with Brooke, who we're super fortunate to get, a range shooting 5 who's also a rim protector, who's also like one of the top guys to play in this league as a human being. He will go down as one of the great teammates that's played. He's that good a guy. So I think the front court, we're able to address some needs there. Then in the backcourt, we knew we needed to improve our ball handling while also, trying to upgrade our shooting as well, and just our playmaking. It was very, very hard to trade Norm, Norm was awesome for us last year. But the opportunity to get Brad Beal, we felt when you look at his shooting, his scoring, but also his playmaking, and also getting a really, really talented player who's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And we've had pretty good success with guys like that. And then to get, Chris on so many different levels, CP, one of the franchise's greatest players, he played all 82 games last year. And really, his desire to come back home, to be with us, but he also he helps us with a need as well, combined with the different things that we did in the draft. So we're super encouraged by what we have. We know this is going to be a process, but we're looking forward to this team coming together and growing together and seeing if we can do something special.
Hey, Justin Russo writes. Lawrence.
I like that. Russo writes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, you said I had to say it.
See what he did there?
Yeah. Good plug. And I just amplified it.
Thank you. I know you can't discuss the ongoing investigation, but how do you see it impacting the players? Is it something that can impact the group as they get ready for the season to unfold, or is that just something you think they'll just take in stride?
Yeah, I think one is you acknowledge it. I mean, there's no sense with it. And then, they know that we're very confident that we're on the right side of things. And then you just focus on what you can control. I mean, if you're looking for a distraction, you can find one, right? I think what makes athletes so special is their ability just to focus on things they can control. They have great pride in being Clippers. So obviously they don't want to hear any disparaging, remarks, allegations, accusations. Yet at the same time, they're focused on playing, competing, and bringing their best.
Lawrence, this is Ramona Shelburne with ESPN. Just following up on the NBA investigation of this situation, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Steve, which was, has Dennis Robertson, Kawhi's uncle, ever asked for any extra benefits that wouldn't be allowable under the NBA salary cap directly to you? There's been a lot coming out about his asks.
Yeah, look, Dennis knows the rules, Kawhi knows the rules, Mitch Franco knows the rules, and we know the rules.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, we all know the rules.
Lumber at the Athletic. Good to see you, Lawrence.
Couldn't see you too long.
You talk about the health status of the roster. How's Bogdanovich, because we know that he didn't finish Eurobasket. 2, what can you tell us about Kawhi in terms of how he's feeling now? You know that you said he's had a healthy offseason, and are there any other issues potentially going into tomorrow's camp?
Yeah, sure. So injury update, and I actually had to make sure I don't forget this loss. So is with Bogey, he suffered a proximal hamstring tendon tear at Eurobasket. Another update was Brad Beal had a scope on his right knee in May while he was still with Phoenix to deal with some irritation he felt last season. Both Brad and Bogey will participate, in camp, but we'll monitor how they progress throughout the week. Kawhi had his first healthy offseason in a while. Feels great. Had a very, very productive offseason in terms of working and continuing to get better, and he's super excited to start the season.
Lawrence, Tom Marisarli with Clutch Points. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Coming into this year, you talked about being deep 1 through 11 guys who've experienced and done this for a long time. Obviously, a lot needs to go your way as well. How are you kind of taking a day-by-day approach, given that this is year 6 or 7 with Kawhi now, and trying to get to that finish line?
Yeah, I think you look at it as, and this is going to be the master of the obvious, but every year it's a new team, but literally a new team, right? We have new players, new roles, guys are a year older, gain additional experience. And I think one of our great opportunities is how we weaponize that we're, I heard a new term, so I'm going to use it, a seasoned team. Seasoned, okay? But how do we weaponize that? And to me, one of the ways we can is urgency. We know how fragile this game is, whether it's an injury, whether, things, all of a sudden, we've seen injuries in this league to some of the better players. We've suffered that. And you think about our team, this is CP's 21st year. This is James' 17th year. It's Brooke and Nico's 18th year. It's Kawhi and Brad's, I think, 14th year. We have 3 guys going to their 10th year, 2 guys going to their 9th. My point is, how do you use that and you weaponize that? And I think there's nothing that individually these guys haven't seen, both on the court, in the locker room, off the floor. So how do we make these collective experiences and put us in a position where now we can do something special? And what we did last year doesn't matter to this year if we're not going to apply that same hard work, that same buy-in, that same connectivity. And what I love about our guys, they know, they've seen it. There's no BS in them. And they understand that it is about the work. It is about the right habits. It is willing to do things you may not want to do, but the team needs you to do it. And especially, now Kawhi and Brooke, those guys have won championships, but you have a bunch of other great players in that locker room who are thirsty and desperate for it. And you run out of time at a certain point. Is that father time knocks on the door? And that's what I think our guys will look at, is that, you only get so many cracks at doing something special. We feel that if things break our way, we can put ourselves in a position, and we know that the Western Conference is a bear. But yet I think there's a great deal of belief in the locker room, but also knowing it is going to be a process. It's a brand new group. There'll be different combinations. We'll deal with different adversities. I mean, we have, one that we're facing now that was something different than what we had last year. And but I love the guys in the locker room. I love the leadership we have with T. Lou and his coaching staff. And the beauty of this organization, starting with Steve, is alignment. It's one team. And so I'm super excited to get the process started. Training camp is one of my favorite times. There's a purity to it, and I love this time of year.
Lawrence, Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated.
Chris?
You said earlier you're very confident that the team is going to wind up on the right side of things with this Kawhi investigation. I guess I'm wondering, what's given you that confidence over the last few weeks? And have you learned anything about why Kawhi would take $7 million per year from a company to endorse something he never actually endorsed?
Yeah, I think the confidence breeds, Chris, is just seeing the entire truth and knowing the entire truth. I can't comment just due to the investigation of anything related to that. And, but I will say, which, I think everyone gets, is that endorsement contracts are completely separate than player contracts. So what a player makes, whether it's Kawhi or any of our other players' endorsement contracts, I have no idea. But the confidence is breeding just from once the league sees the entire truth, we feel very confident.
Ben Galver, Washington Post. With the investigation kind of swirling here for the last month or so with Kawhi Leonard, does that change his status, I guess, from a strategy standpoint, roster building standpoint? Feels like he's been your centerpiece franchise player now for more than half a decade. Does that change in any way with this news?
Nothing. Nothing's changed. And I think, to me is, follow the actions. We tried to use every tool this offseason to get this team better. We know that Kawhi raises our ceiling. When he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the world, and he's healthy.
Lawrence, with the amount of depth that you guys have, we've talked about it a little bit already, just the necessity of the buy-in that is going to have to be there this season. Since the last time we spoke, have there been any conversations that have allowed you to kind of gauge that sense where guys that have been playing a lot more than maybe they are going to be playing this season are fully prepared for what that dynamic is going to look like?
Yeah, I think the thing is you start those conversations, you start doing them individually, we'll start doing them as a team. But the reality is, unless there's something that's crazy, you usually get buy-in going into training camp. It's like, okay, then when it's Thanksgiving and Christmas and things start not going your way, can you still be for the team when things aren't going great for you? And those are like real challenges. And I think you just acknowledge all what the potential challenges could be. And it's a whole lot easier to fix a leaky roof in the sunshine than it is during the rain. And I think you're very, very honest with the group. Hey, what are the potential challenges? How are we going to deal with it? Will we be accountable? Will we hold each other accountable? And how we're going to grow through those things. And I think you need to, you got to get in the mud, and you have to grow through some tough times to be able to get out on the other side. And I think that is one of the benefits of having a veteran team. They get this. This isn't square one. The other thing, and we talk so much about our vets, our younger guys have had tremendous off seasons. JVG and the assistants really poured into these guys. Typically, what we do is after summer league, they get around 10 to 14 days off, and then they're in the gym. And these guys have been grinding. They're working hard. And I think some of these guys have gotten to a point where when they step on the court tomorrow, they're going to try to take someone's job, and that's what they should do. And I think that's what's going to make this a super competitive camp.
Hey, Lawrence. Lauren Rosenthal.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I imagine when you did that autopsy on the season as a whole, you saw a lot about James Harden and the way that he grew his game, changed himself and his habits. What did you see from him this summer, and how do you hope he builds upon that this year so he can propel the group in the same direction he was able to do last year?
Yeah, I mean, James demonstrated incredible leadership. And I think the best leaders, they unite, align, and inspire with their actions. And I think James playing 79 games, I think everyone remembers that we have that horrible loss in Phoenix where we coughed up, I think we're a 23-point lead. We were down a couple guys, second night of a back-to-back, playing Detroit, President Obama in the stands. And I guess he wasn't in the stands, courtside. And James, puts up a 50-piece. And, just you go back and you think about the amount of effort and energy it takes to do that, especially against a really, really good defensive team. And the thing that I loved about James, going through the negotiation with him as a free agent this offseason, his number one focus is how do we get the team better? And he was so engaged and doing everything he could in his power to sell the Clippers. And there's a big misperception, I think, at James. I mean, I didn't even know until I had the benefit of working with him of just how great of a worker he is and how much he just loves to play. And he's got an incredible brain. He's got a great heart, and he wants to do something special this is his hometown. And there's a great deal of pride in being a Clipper and trying to do something that we've never done as an organization. And, James wears that as a badge of honor.
Michael Matthew here in Fantasy TV. Lawrence, Zoo is coming off, the best year of his career. Is there a next step for him as a player? And if so, how are you guys going to be able to help him get there?
Yeah, I think what Zoo has shown is he's gotten better each and every year. incredible credit to him, first of all. Credit to T. Lou and Jay Larinaga. And a lot of credit to, I think, James Harden in terms of what he's done. But I think Zoo in his own right has put himself in a position where he can be an all-star. And, all-star is kind of subjective, but I think that's a realistic pathway for him. I mean, he essentially was fourth team All-NBA, right? Put himself in a great position where he can be a defensive player of the year. You normally have to be mentioned first in that air before you get it. So I think that's an obtainable goal. But what I love about Zoo is he is all about the team. It's not about individual accomplishments. Zoo is a truth teller and not afraid to both say the hard things and also hear the hard things. You look, when you see Zoo, you'll see his body. He's lost 10 pounds. And that's just the commitment. I mean, Zoo is in his prime. And I think the best is ahead for him. Love that he's our longest tenured Clipper and the growth that he's made. So super excited to see. I think the best is to come with Zoo.
Last question here. Right, Demetrius Beaver and Fantasy TV. You talked about the youth of the team, and two players that stand out to me is Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown. Can you necessarily talk about what is your expectations for them coming into this training camp after seeing their time in Summer League and in the G League as well?
Yeah, let me tell you a little story about Jordan. We have so much respect for him. Okay, one, if there was an off-season MVP, it'd be Jordan Miller. But how he got there is pretty incredible. So if you think about, the second day of Summer League, just because of some different cap gymnastics, we had to pull Jordan Miller before practice, sit him in the office and say, hey, look, this is kind of coming out of left field, but we're going to have to waive you. Okay, now that's pretty crushing. Okay, now, how did he respond? Well, first, literally, we said, look, you can go home, talk to your agent. Probably going to be in your best interest to play Summer League, even if you're not going to be with us going forward, being that you know the system, and we'll make sure you're in a position to be successful. What the guy does is he stays during that practice. He just got really, really hard news to take. He watches practice. He clears waivers. He decides to play Summer League with us. He does what he's always done, whether it's Summer League or G League. He performs at a super, super high level. Then after that, he has a choice. Okay, he was looking for a roster spot or a two-way. Now, if he was spiteful, or you could make a pretty good justification that, you know what, screw the Clippers. I can't believe they did this to me. He had opportunities, and he decided to stay here. And then not only did he decide to stay here in a two-way, he's had an incredible, incredible rest of the offseason. The work he's put into it, you'll see it with his body. You'll see it with his defense, both on and off the ball. Offensively, he has some terrific scoring gifts. But just the humility and the hunger, I think he's put himself in a really, really good position. And there's a lot of momentum that he's created. But I have a ton of respect for Jordan, how he's handled that. Kobe, it's been unfortunate for him because he has these little starts of momentum where you start to see it, and then he has some fluky injuries. So, it's that first half of Summer League, he was playing really well, a lot of urgency. Guy dives into and hits his ankle. He's out for 6 weeks. So now you kind of have to deal with the rehab. Then you got to start back up. So I'm hoping, and I think these guys know year 3, it's go time for them. And then also I think, what we've seen from some of our other younger guys has been super encouraging, and I'm interested, okay, what does it look like now come training camp? But we're super excited to continue to see those guys' growth and development.
Thanks, Ev.